Merci d'être là. Les conservateurs continuent dans notre raison d'être de ramener un Canada où chacun qui travaille fort peut s'offrir une belle maison abordable dans une communauté sécuritaire. Malgré les grandes promesses, après 10 ans, les libéraux ont doublé le nombre de personnes qui font recours aux banques alimentaires avec des taxes inflationnistes sur la nourriture. Ils ont doublé le coût du logement et ont bloqué toute une génération l'opportunité d'avoir accès à la propriété. Hier, on a appris d'un rapport de faim, les nombres des gens qui ont faim, qui provenaient des banques alimentaires du Canada, qu'il y a une augmentation énorme dans le nombre de personnes qui doivent aller aux banques alimentaires, un problème qui s'aggrave depuis l'arrivée au pouvoir de M. Carney. M. Carney a brisé toutes ses promesses de l'élection. Il a promis de nourriture abordable. Le coût augmente 2 fois plus rapidement que le cible de la Banque du Canada. Il a promis de doubler le nombre de maisons bâties, mais le nombre est en chute libre selon son agence. Il a promis de négocier une victoire avec les Américains sur les tarifs. Depuis ce temps-là, les tarifs ont doublé, il n'y a pas de deal. Et les Chinois ont augmenté aussi les tarifs sur le Canada. Donc, M. Carney, il a promis plus d'investissements. Il y a 50 milliards de dollars d'investissements qui a sorti de notre pays. Il a promis qu'il allait réduire les dépenses. Les dépenses déficitaires ont augmenté de 100% depuis son arrivée au pouvoir. Et maintenant, il demande aux jeunes d'avoir des sacrifices. En plus, les gens se sentent en danger dans la rue et, pire que ça, dans leur propre maison. Le problème de violence conjugale est en hausse au Canada. On voit des cas qui brisent le cœur. Il y a 125 000 victimes de violences conjugales, une énorme augmentation. Ça a augmenté de 14% depuis 2018. Il y a 25 000 victimes de la violence familiale en 2024 qui sont les enfants. Il y a presque 8 000 qui sont des aînés. Et c'est en large partie la responsabilité des lois libérales qui libèrent des criminels qui font des abus conjugaux contre les femmes. La loi C-75 en est un exemple. C-5 aussi, qui permet des criminels violents de faire leur sentence, leur peine dans leur salon. C'est les peines Netflix dont on parle. On a aujourd'hui avec nous le porte-parole de la famille de Bailey McCourt, Debbie Henderson, Trish McCourt, la belle-mère de Mme Bailey McCourt. L'histoire de Bailey McCourt est vraiment tragique. Son mari, James Plover, l'a tuée à peine 4 heures après avoir été libéré, malgré le fait qu'il avait été trouvé coupable des menaces et de l'agression physique. Quelques heures après sa libération, il a tué cette femme brillante, courageuse et généreuse. Une mère, un membre de la communauté qui n'est plus là, quelqu'un qui aurait pu être protégé par des lois. Heureusement, nous avons avec nous Raquel Dancho, Rachel Thomas, Stephanie Cousy, Melissa Lansman et surtout Trish et Debbie. Ils sont ici afin de supporter la loi de Frank Caputo. Frank Caputo met devant la Chambre des communes la loi C-225, une loi qui va protéger surtout les femmes, mais toutes les victimes de la violence conjugale. Ça va garantir que un meurtre conjugal, ça va être de premier degré, qu'il va y avoir des prohibitions contre des attaques contre des femmes dans leur maison. Ça va forcer les juges d'être les seules personnes qui peuvent libérer quelqu'un qui est accusé de violence conjugale. Et ça va permettre de garder des gens en prison après une accusation de violence conjugale, en plus d'autres mesures. Donc, nous encourageons tous les partis de venir ensemble. Ce n'est pas une question partisane, c'est une question de protéger les femmes et toutes les victimes contre les agresseurs. Et nous voulons travailler avec tout le monde pour faire adopter la loi de M. Caputo. Thank you very much, everyone, for being here today, and now in English. Conservatives are still focused on our main mission, which is to make this once again a country where hard work pays off with an affordable home and good food on a safe street under our proud flag. That was the basic promise of Canada. We want stronger paychecks, secure streets, solid borders in a self-reliant Canada. But after 10 years of Liberals, we see the opposite. Despite their grand promises, what they've really done is doubled the cost of housing. They've doubled the food bank lineups. Just yesterday, we saw Food Bank's report, which is called Hunger Count, ominously named Hunger Count, showed that 2.2 million people are visiting food banks every single month. This is a massive increase over the numbers that were roughly 1 million. And the report said that it took decades for Canada to have 1 million visits to a food bank in a single month, and only 5 years under the Liberals to get up to 2.2 million, just to show how disastrous the inflationary food policies of this government have become. That is one of the reasons why we're asking for the government to get rid of all hidden taxes on food in the forthcoming budget, the industrial carbon tax on farm equipment and fertilizer, the food packaging tax, the fuel standard tax, and of course the inflation tax. Mark Carney, since taking office, has made these problems worse, said he would be judged by the price of groceries. Well, the verdict is in. Food prices are rising twice as fast as the general targeted inflation rate, rising 50% faster than in the United States of America. And more people are lined up at food banks than ever before. He said he'd spend less. His deficit spending is 100% more. He said he would negotiate a win with the Americans and have a deal by July 21st. Still no win, still no deal, still no elbows, and the jobs have gone missing. He has been weak and promise-breaking on the signature promise of the last election. And of course on crime. So far he has done nothing. He has passed no laws to reverse the Liberal crime wave that his party has unleashed over the last decade. And unfortunately, we see the results in intimate partner violence. 128,000 victims of intimate partner violence suffered in 2024. We have family violence is up 17% in the last 6 years. We see around 79% of intimate partner violence homicide victims are women. 26,000 children were victims of this violence. And this is all the direct result of C-75, liberal bail, which allows repeat offenders to be released as soon as they are arrested, and, of course, C-5, which allows these abusers to do their sentences in the comfort of their living room, threatening their loved ones. This is effectively turning the home into a prison for the victims. Today, we're joined by Conservative members of Parliament and champions of public safety, Raquel Dancho, Rachel Thomas, Melissa Landsman, Stephanie Kuzy, and, of course, Frank Caputo, Shadow Minister of Public Safety, who has put forward an important bill to save lives by stopping intimate partner violence. Most important of all, we have Debbie Henderson, a family spokesperson for Bailey McCourt, and Trish McCourt, Bailey's stepmother. Bailey's story is really one of tragic heartbreak. A brilliant, beautiful, and intelligent young woman in the prime of her life, a mother, murdered by her estranged ex-husband, James Plover, a man who was released literally hours earlier despite a conviction for uttering threats and carrying out a violent physical assault. He had strangled another person in an unprovoked attack, yet he was released under Liberal laws, and he murdered this beautiful young woman. This could have been prevented. If Mr. Plover had been in jail where he belonged, she would still be alive today. There are countless who have lost their lives because liberal laws have turned their perpetrators loose on our streets. And that is why Frank Caputo has introduced a bill that would take a number of steps to protect against intimate partner violence. It would ensure that anyone who's convicted of murder in an intimate partner setting would be automatically given first-degree murder sentencing. It would create specific sentences, including assaulting an intimate partner and criminal harassment of an intimate partner. It would force those convicted of intimate partner offense to, within the preceding 5 years, to be released only by a judge. It would empower courts to detain persons accused of intimate partner violence at any time for a risk assessment reviewed by a judge, and would modernize detention evidence. These are important common steps that will protect all victims of domestic violence, especially women, who make up over three-quarters of victims in these cases. So I want to thank Frank and all of our Conservative MPs. We want to work with any party to get this bill passed, protect people. We encourage every party to join with us. It doesn't matter who gets the credit. Let's do the right thing. Now let me turn the floor over to Frank Caputo to further describe his bill. There you are.
Thank you very much, Pierre. It's an honor to be here, although I wish the circumstances were different. I'm honored to be joined here by Debbie and by Trish, two of Bailey McCourt's family members. They want change. Canada wants change. I want change. As a former Crown prosecutor, as a former federal parole officer, I have seen the pernicious impact of intimate partner violence. This is a crime that spans every socioeconomic group. It is vastly underreported and disproportionately impacts women, especially vulnerable women. It is against that backdrop that I drafted Bill C-225, the most comprehensive response to intimate partner violence in Canadian history. This bill is completely non-partisan. I invite anybody who reads it to look at the provisions. It is so important that we call it what it is. When you assault an intimate partner, it's not just assault. It's assaulting somebody oftentimes who is in an emotional relationship, a physical relationship, a relationship of financial dependence. That's what distinguishes it from simple assault. And that's why we should be calling it criminal harassment of an intimate partner, aggravated assault of an intimate partner, just like we do with assaulting a peace officer. The time for change is now. This bill would also make it first-degree murder for anybody who murders their intimates. Where it would ordinarily be second-degree murder, we believe we need to denounce and deter, according to the fact that so many intimate partners are homicide victims. The vast majority, many victims of homicide in Canada are actually intimate partners, and it's time that we reflect that in our laws. This bill would enable a risk assessment to occur at any time. Most importantly, this bill is supported by our Conservative caucus. It's supported by Debbie and Trish. It's supported by Carrie Wiebe. I talked to her this morning. She was the survivor of the attack on Bailey McCourt. She's recovering at home, and we wish her all the best. Myself, Trish, and Debbie had a phone call with Premier David Eby yesterday. He supports this bill. When you have an NDP Premier supporting a Conservative private member's bill, we know we're on the right track. I urge the government to pass this bill as quickly as possible. The government has the ability to get this bill through the House of Commons and to the Senate in a matter of weeks, if not days. We believe that the government should be dealing with this right away. And if you don't want to listen to me, that's fine. But perhaps they will listen to the voice of Debbie, who's going to speak on behalf of the McCourt family. Thank you.
We're here today on behalf of Bailey, and not just on behalf of Bailey, but on behalf of all the victims that have died by intimate partner violence. We're tired of seeing it in the news. We have been counting Every day since Bailey was murdered, and watching and seeing the number of women murdered, and we are demanding change. There's no need to wait. This is an epidemic, and we fully support Bill C-225, Bailey's Law. We're so grateful to Mr. Caputo for honoring Bailey's name, and we're going to continue to push for change, and we are hopeful that the community, write your MPs, ask your MPs to support this bill. It needs to be passed quickly. There's no need to wait. The next person could be you, or it could be one of your family members, and we don't want to see any other family member go through the horror that our family has gone through. Thank you.
Mr. Poilievre, can we ask you on a different topic, and I'm sorry to be so breaking the mood, but je m'excuse, je ne sais pas pourquoi je parle en anglais. Oui, vas-y donc.
Monsieur Poilievre. Il y a d'autres gouvernements, vous parlez de M. Eby notamment, qui a écrit une lettre à M. Carney pour faire adopter un projet de loi semblable pour protéger les victimes de violences conjugales. Dans son projet de loi à lui, il demande la création d'un registre des gens qui ont été victimes, qui ont été reconnus coupables d'agression sexuelle, d'agression domestique, comme ça. Est-ce que vous supporteriez amender le projet de M. Caputo pour inclure un registre des gens qui ont commis des crimes de ce genre?
Merci beaucoup. Une très bonne question. Frank, the question was whether or not we would support a registry of domestic abusers. Do you want to address that? And I'll say what he said in French afterwards, so you have your stuff.
I did understand the question.
All right.
Well, this is something that has gotten a great deal of scrutiny. It's definitely a question of jurisdiction as well. Sometimes people have put forward the idea of whether this should be a prerequisite, for instance, when applying for a marriage license. I'm certainly open to looking at this. I am open to any common sense solution that will help intimate partners be victimized less. Let's talk about it. There is nothing wrong with discussion, just as we're having right now. So let's see where that goes. Thank you.
Donc, on est ouvert aux amendements, y compris la possibilité d'un registre. Frank veut travailler avec tous les partis. S'il y a des suggestions qui vont protéger les victimes et prévenir ces crimes-là, y compris possiblement un registre, nous sommes ouverts à ça. Merci beaucoup.
Just on this topic, you're saying that you are calling on the federal government to move this through as quickly as possible. Will you be trying for unanimous consent? Is there any steps your caucus is going to take to try to move this along?
I think we are moving for that.
Yes. I will be speaking with the minister shortly, and by that I mean in the coming days, and I will be asking them to move this with unanimous consent. I think Canadians want this to happen quickly. There's no reason why this bill can't get to the Senate very quickly. There's no reason why this bill can't get to committee. Certainly, we will talk about it. If there's common sense amendments, we're open to those, but this bill should move, and it should move fast.
On the topic of Doug Ford, I'm wondering what you think of how that was handled, whether or not that ad should have been pulled faster.
It's a good question for Mr. Carney. Mark Carney approved the ad, and then he claimed, after the ad started running, that the ad was the reason why no deal happened. So it's time for Mark Carney to come clean. He claims he was on the verge, once again, claims that he was on the verge of getting a deal. Then he approved the ad, and then he blamed the ad for the fact that there is no deal. So the reality is that premiers are stepping up to fill the void left behind by Mark Carney's broken promise. He said he would negotiate a win. He said he would have a deal by July 21st. Still no deal, still no win, still no elbows, still no jobs. And if I could, and now Mark Carney is looking for someone to blame for his broken promises, and he's blaming an ad that he approved. So it's time for Mark Carney to stop blaming others and start keeping his promises, his promise being that he would get a deal, that he would lower the tariffs, and that he would get the job done. He has not done that.
Monsieur Poilievre, excusez-moi,
the government with this budget. Would you like to bring down the government with this budget? Do you want an election?
We want an affordable budget for an affordable Canada. after 10 years of Liberal inflationary taxes and debt, Canadians can't afford to eat, heat, or house themselves. And our message to the Liberals is that we want an affordable budget for an affordable Canada. We want the government to bring down the cost of its spending so we can bring down the cost of living. And so it will be up to them. If they're going to increase the cost of living for Canadians again with more inflationary spending, then the Canadians will judge them accordingly. And let's be honest, every dollar the Liberals spend comes out of the pockets of Canadians. The more they spend, the more things cost. That's why we want the Prime Minister to reverse course from the last Liberal decade, keep his promise, bring down the cost of government so we can bring down the cost of living.
Mais vous, M. Poilievre, qu'est-ce que vous auriez fait si vous aviez été le premier ministre et que M. Ford vous avait soumis cette publicité? Est-ce que vous trouviez que c'était une bonne idée? Aurait-elle dû être enlevée plus tôt?
In English too, please.
Merci beaucoup. On va commencer en français. Premièrement, M. Carney, on ne serait pas dans cet endroit aujourd'hui si M. Carney avait respecté sa promesse électorale. Et ce n'est pas l'une de ses promesses, c'était sa promesse primordiale sur laquelle il a été élu. Il a dit qu'il allait négocier une victoire face à Trump, qu'il allait avoir une entente avant le 21 juillet 2025. C'est ça, c'est lui qui l'a promis. Puis, si je peux me compléter, s'il avait gardé ses promesses, il n'y aurait pas eu une publicité. Mais il nous a dit qu'il allait avoir un deal. Il n'y a pas de deal, il n'y a pas de victoire. En fait, les tarifs américains ont doublé depuis que M. Carney est arrivé au pouvoir. Et M. Carney, il doit expliquer ça, qu'est-ce qui s'est passé ici. Lui, il dit qu'il était juste avant d'avoir un deal. Puis soudainement, il a approuvé une publicité. Et maintenant, il blâme la même publicité pour le fait qu'il n'y a pas de deal. C'est donc, moi, moi, ce que je ferais, faire des promesses, garder les promesses. Oui.
Xi Jinping, dans son voyage en Corée, M. Carney va rencontrer Xi Jinping. Est-ce qu'il faut rétablir les relations avec la Chine? Quelle approche devrait être celle du Premier ministre?
Il devrait enlever les tarifs sur le canola et des produits de pêche, de fruits de mer. Depuis son arrivée au pouvoir, M. Carney a réussi à avoir des autres pays augmenter des tarifs douaniers sur nos fermiers et nos pêcheurs. Je veux qu'il réussisse à enlever les tarifs. Donc, 7 mois après qu'on a mis en place un premier ministre, soi-disant négociateur brillant, il n'y a pas une seule victoire. Il parle aux Chinois, les Chinois augmentent les tarifs sur nos fermiers et nos pêcheurs. Il parle aux Américains, les Américains ont doublé les tarifs sur le Canada. Il parle aux Anglais, les Anglais continuent de bloquer notre bœuf. Chaque fois que M. Carney rencontre un chef mondial, on voit des tarifs plus élevés sur le Canada. Donc, nous revendiquons que M. Carney fasse enlever les tarifs sur nos fermiers et nos pêcheurs. C'est ça le succès sur lequel il devrait être jugé.
Les tarifs sur les véhicules électriques chinois.
Non.
Donc, on garde les tarifs, mais on veut les éliminer du côté des Chinois. Il y a du donnant-donnant là-dedans, là, non?
Non, parce que la solution, c'est d'appliquer plus de tarifs sur les Chinois pour punir les attaques contre nos agriculteurs et nos pêcheurs. On devrait annuler le prêt d'1 milliard de dollars des contribuables que les libéraux donnent aux Chinois pour bâtir des bateaux dans la Colombie-Britannique. C'est une prête du gouvernement fédéral. On devrait réinstaurer les tarifs sur l'acier chinois afin de punir le gouvernement de la Chine pour avoir ciblé nos fermiers et nos pêcheurs. C'est comme ça qu'on va se battre pour défendre nos fermiers et nos pêcheurs. Donc, c'est ça l'approche qu'il devrait prendre. Il nous faut une victoire après 7 mois. Hein? On attend le grand négociateur, M. Carney, livrer une victoire. On voit des grandes réunions, des grands discours qu'il prononce à travers le monde, mais il n'y a pas de résultat pour les Canadiens. C'est le temps qu'il garde ses promesses. I don't think I had a chance to get that in English. The Prime Minister everywhere he goes, and every time he holds a meeting, a foreign country hits us with higher tariffs. He's been meeting with President Trump. The American tariffs have doubled on Canada. His ministers have been meeting with China. Chinese tariffs have expanded on our farmers and fish harvesters. He goes to London, meets the Prime Minister there, and the Brits keep tariffs on and blockades on our beef. The results of, he has these grand meetings that they look very sophisticated and grand, but what are the results? Higher tariffs on our farmers, fish harvesters, and workers. Mark Carney is going to meet President Xi. He needs to come home with tariffs off our farmers and fish harvesters. It's time for him to keep his promises. It's time for him to get results.
Sur le budget et le vote de confiance qu'il y aura après, on sait que les libéraux sont minoritaires. Il leur manque quand même...
Ils sont quoi?
Ils sont minoritaires, les libéraux, mais il leur manque quand même peu de députés pour avoir une majorité. Donc, chaque mathématique, disons, le nombre de députés présents pour chaque parti va être très important lors de ce vote-là. Est-ce que vous comptez vous assurer que chacun des 144 députés conservateurs soit en Chambre lors du vote pour vraiment mettre tout votre poids dans la balance?
Nous revendiquons un budget abordable pour un Canada abordable. Après 10 ans des taxes et déficits inflationnistes des libéraux, les Canadiens ne peuvent plus payer la facture. M. Carney coûte encore plus cher que M. Trudeau. Il a doublé les déficits que les libéraux avaient déjà mis en place. Et c'est pour ça que les Canadiens ne peuvent même plus se nourrir. Nous voulons un budget qui réduit le coût du gouvernement et le coût de la vie, qui enlève les taxes cachées sur les épiceries et permettent les gens de manger. C'est ça nos demandes et nous verrons si le Premier ministre va accepter ces demandes. OK. Thank you very much, everybody. Good to be with you. Thank you very much, everybody. Good to be with you.
Oh, sorry, do you want a quick moment?
I'm curious, have you had a chance to speak with Justice Minister Sean Fraser about, would you like to?
We will be speaking with him tomorrow.
What's your message?
My message is I hope he listens to the cries of our family, that we have a productive conversation, and that he will be on board with Bailey's Law C-225. Yeah.
So the government has brought forward bail legislation. Perhaps you want to weigh on this as well. Is what is in there something that you think goes further or far enough? And is it something that your caucus is going to be supporting?
Yes, at this point, we're still evaluating the legislation. Any time that we have a risk for intimate partner violence that we are not addressing, we need to deal with that. And this law goes well beyond anything in C-14. Right now, we're focused on Bill C-225. You'll have our position on C-14 in due course. Thank you.
The Liberals campaigned on putting femicide in the criminal code and then making crimes convicted under femicide as a first-degree murder offense. It seems a little similar to maybe what you're asking. What do you make of the Liberals' proposal, and do you have any sense that they might be open to working with what you're proposing when they campaigned on kind of their own set of reforms on this?
Well, I certainly can't speak for the Liberals, but what I can say is that we have the surviving victim of the attack on Bailey. We have Bailey's family. We have Premier Eby saying pass this law, which does contemplate making it first-degree murder. I can't comment on what the Liberals might or might do, but I can comment on what they should do, and they should pass C-225 right away.
For Mr. Poilievre, do you support the Alberta government?
If you have any more questions for Frank, then please feel free.
Or Debbie, if we may, I'd like to hear a little bit more about the urgency that you're trying to impress on the government and the need for nonpartisanship on this. I'd like to hear you from that about that.
The stats are every 5 to 6 days, there's a victim of homicide related to intimate partner violence. Those stats are staggering. I think that speaks for itself in terms of urgency. And sorry, I forgot your...
Nonpartisanship.
I feel this bill it's a nonpartisan bill. It's a human issue. It's directly related to saving lives and justice for victims. So based on that, I feel that it's a nonpartisan issue and all parties should be on board.
How hopeful are you that they will be? Government is often accused of working slowly, working sticking within their political lines. How hopeful are you that this bill might get passed?
I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful, and our family will maintain that hope until we see otherwise.
If I could chime in on that too, please. I'll be direct. This just has to get done. I received a phone call from parents whose daughter was killed in a crime of intimate partner violence. Hearing their words, having spent time with Debbie and Trish, the time to move is now. The time to set partisanship aside is now. The time to address this was yesterday. It was before July 4th when Bailey was killed. We have to move. We have to listen to Canadians. If we as legislators are not prepared to listen to Canadians and move rapidly, then why are we here? It is time. So I will be asking the Minister of Justice when we meet, what are the impediments? Let's move this forward. The Minister of Justice has an army of lawyers at his disposal. We're just one private member supported by his caucus and his leader, supported by victims. I put this back in the government's court. They can move this as quickly as they want. So I invite you to ask them, anybody watching, write to your MP, write to the Minister of Justice. Please interview the Minister of Justice and say, what is the holdup? Thank you.
Thank you, folks.